And thanks for staying with us. Now, the news continues in Abuja, where the annual conference of the Chartered Institute of Directors entered its second day. The conversations are centered on ensuring leadership continuity and long-term organizational growth. Under the theme, Leadership That Lasts, embedding succession planning into board strategy, experts, directors, and policymakers are emphasizing the need for effective succession planning to sustain good governance and business stability. The session highlights how forward-looking board strategies can strengthen institutions, preserve corporate values, and prepare the next generation of leaders for sustainable impact. Still at the conference, of course, talking about the conference, we will now be joined by Kufre Ubaha, who is the chairman of the CIoD PortHarcourt zone. Thank you so much, Mr. Kufre, for joining us. What practical steps can enterprises take to embed sustainability into their core business models, especially in the Nigerian context?
Thank you, first of all, for allowing me to join you on your studio. As we can see, the conference actually started yesterday, and the keynote speakers and every participant who has actually engaged in discussion, we've really been talking on some critical aspect of corporate governance, which actually is something that is key for business succession in Nigeria. A quick example, if you notice in Nigeria, there is always this attitude of success for the first generation of most private business. But when it gets to the second generation, the business either go extinct or the business is off. So now the issue right now we are looking at is trying to encourage directors to look at the aspect of succession planning. Get a good succession planning whereby the business don't only thrive with the first generation or with the founders, but that business now outlive the founding fathers of that business, so we can see success in future, not just success that is just short-based. So really what we are looking at now, we are actually encouraging directors to come up with strategy that if you really want to really have a good business, come up with strategies that actually have long-term goals, not just short-term goals, not just about profit today, but about seeing how that business will go from this generation in 2 years. Let's look at it. We need to come out from the part whereby we start building brands that we can boast of. Brands that we can look at and say, wow, this business is 40 years old. This business is 110 years old. That's something that you hardly see in the private sector. So this is what the directors have been brainstorming and talking over in the last 2 days and trying to see how strategies can come where we are not threatened by having the business to be ours, but opening up to allow other generation, opening up to have other people come. They mustn't be your family members, but if they are good and have the vision of the business, they can succeed. They can succeed you. So this is what the directors have been looking at, and so many other things in this conference.
Inclusion is often spoken of, but less often concretely realized. Can you tell us how directors can ensure that, the organizations are inclusive enterprises, not just in recruitment, but also in the value chain, in things like decision-making, stakeholder representation, and most importantly, growth opportunities?
From this aspect, we are trying to build our businesses. Most of the businesses that we have, especially in Nigeria, we try to bring this cultural bias perception into this business, whereby we believe that it is my own. And because it is my own, it's going to be my family that should succeed me. Now, if you have that mindset, the truth about it is that it is high time for us to start thinking from that aspect that whether you like it or not, one day you will leave. Every man comes here, play their part, and they go. Death is inevitable. Your exit as a founder is inevitable. One day you will leave. So what's the best thing? Now that you are alive, why not come up with strategies whereby within your business, you are recruiting the right people for the job. You believe in them. You entrust certain responsibility for them to carry. Why not allow them express their own concept? Being truthful to you, if you look at the business landscape within the last 5-10 years, it actually changed drastically. Now we have a new generation of young, vibrant, young, talented people. They have a different perception of how things work for them. Why not look at how it benefits in your business, how those things are working, and integrate it into your business. No business should be casted on stone. If there is need for the business to diversify, if there is need for the business to transform itself or evolve into what it should be in the next time, be open for that. Directors should be open, the board should be open. The inclusivity of bringing in young people into the board should be something that should be a key strategy, because whether you like it or not, having a board where all the board members are 70 years old, ask yourself in the next 10 years, how they'll be active on that board. It's time for these 70 years old members, as they are in that board, let them think of bringing in young, vibrant people into the board. Teach them the ropes. Be an advisor. Serve as an advisory board to them. Watch them grow. Make mistakes and correct them. In doing these things and putting many of these things, we can see how business can be growing into time and not just short-lived.
Now, Mr. Ubaha, for organizations operating in Nigeria, amid economic restructuring and governance challenges, what role does corporate governance play, especially ensuring enterprises are resilient, sustainable, and most importantly, inclusive?
Now, you see, the thing is this. Corporate governance is something that most times we talk about it in conferences. Corporate governance is not just a passive word, it's a practice. If businesses in Nigeria actually can imbibe good corporate governance into their system, you will see changes in business. It's not just about reading books or trying to do, it's about putting those things in practice. If we really follow corporate governance, we will really get to see that there's going to be a lot of change in both the public sector, both the private sector. There will be accountability. There's going to be that belief that we know that we are actually solving issues. We are here to make a change. And we are accountable to both our shareholders, accountable to both the public. Because in good corporate governance, you have good integrity. In good corporate governance, you are really going to see honest practice, honest business practice. And you see the whole thing, it has the part where the government will play their own, and it has where the business owners, the public sector or private sector, they will make their own play. When every one of us imbibe the culture of corporate governance in our business, we will see a different thing. Then you can now see credibility in business. Where if a company is asking for a loan or they want to raise a campaign, the business credibility is going to be obvious because it is transparent. So I think that for us to really make this, corporate governance is something that we need to start practicing, not just preaching it alone. Practice it, and you will see the difference.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Kufre Ubaha, for having this conversation with us, and I wish you nothing but the very best as you conclude the conference.